Hello and welcome to Crossing the T's and Dotting the I's with Renny Adejuwon. Very excited. We've done 6 months, half of the year, as promised, of providing every month nuggets or information about the 12 years of child development, and we are in the 6th month. Really excited about this, so really happy. Thank you for the support, for the messages, for those simple words of encouragement from families and friends. So really excited, and I do hope that you are benefiting from it in one way or shape or the other. The information is being helpful, and I do hope you will stay with me on the next 6 months journey until the end of 2022. The views are exciting. Getting those views, looking at those analytical records and reports keeps me going as well. So please do share, do like, and send your messages in. I still have those exciting gifts waiting to be collected. I've asked for questions, I've given questions as well. So go back to the first 5 months, January, February, March, April, May, and look through and ask this question. January, I focused on the first year of child development. February was the year twos, looking at the terrible or the terrific twos. March was year 3, looking at year 3-year-old children. April was for the 4-year-olds, and May was for the 5-year-olds. So today, which is the in the 6th month of the year, the month of June, I will be focusing on the 6-year-olds. My name still remains Renny Adejuwon, and I help to cross the T's and dot the I's in parenting children and family. And you can definitely find me, contact me. I have so many resources at rennyadejuwon.com. Okay, so 6-year-olds, I call them the 6 sense 6-year-olds. And of course, they are preparing for, the big school, we call it. So, they've moved from being in nurseries to reception, and in the UK, they're going to year 1 or wherever you are, primary 1 as well. So it's very important to actually observe them at this age, because you don't know how they will react in this kind of situation. Because remember, in my last video, I talked about them being the oldest, maybe in the the reception of the nursery setting they're in, but now they're going to big school, which I will call it that, and they will be the youngest. They're going to be having year 2 children, year 3 children, primary school. So it can be overwhelming for them. So it is very important as a parent or a carer to observe how your child might react. Some children will definitely be excited. They go on, they mingle, maybe they've got siblings as well. It might or might not help them, while others might be a bit overwhelming. So even though they're going to the big school, the primary school, it is very important for you as a parent or carer to observe them, because you just don't know how they're going to react. And it's very important to identify if they are really enjoying it or they are struggling with it as a 6-year-old, and what are the steps you as a parent has to take to ensure that that journey of the big school, primary school, is very exciting and rewarding for them. At this age, 6-year-old as well, as I said, 6-year-olds, they are beginning to analyze. Analyze is the word I want to say. And Piaget, who is a child psychologist, I mean, I have child development psychologist as one of my, my foundation qualification as well. I don't want to blow my hat, but Piaget, which it has to do with analyzing, calls this the concrete operational stage. So at the age of 6, they are starting to analyze, analyze, my tongue twisting. So, and as I said, Piaget calls this the concrete operational stage, where logic and such as addition and subtraction is starting to take place. So analyzing, being able to add numbers and subtract, even with whatever conversations you might be having with your child from this age on, they're analyzing to say, okay, which one is, which one should I just take on? Because remember, they used to take on everything you said with no questions. Now, they can just say, because of they're getting to that stage of a more matured stage, left the early 5s behind, into the 6, and moving on to the 7-year-old and the 8. But of course, I said it in my earlier videos, go and watch those videos. Every child developmental stage is different, but this is just a general view based on what child psychologists have looked at, what developmental psychologists have looked at, the stages and age of child development. So, analyzing is taken up in this age, logic, reason, and which Piaget describes as concrete operations. So that is beginning to take place as well. And Vygotsky scaffolding strategies are being used as children are assessed on their abilities. So in schools, because of they're in, year 1 or primary 1, Vygotsky scaffolding teachers in the education are using scaffolding to assess the abilities and potential that your child will be reaching. So, scaffolding is using one more matured person, maybe somebody that is more advanced in a particular subject or a particular skill, to support the other child. In most cases, it tends to be more of a teacher or the teaching assistant or the carer, but sometimes children can be used as scaffolding onto other children. So this assessing is taking place because of, in some schools, in some localities, in some primary schools, STAT is beginning to take place maybe from year 2, so this assessing scaffolding is coming into place to check the level of developmental stage, to check what kind of support can be offered to your child as well, or if they need to be in a certain group, if they need to have more support. But that scaffolding is just like you're scaffolding a building, the kind of support that needs to be in place to ensure your child flourish is being used at this age as well. Your child indirectly might be scaffolding another child based on their abilities or skills. And this scaffolding, which Vygotsky talks about, differs. It might be scaffolding in physical play, it might be scaffolding in emotional play. For example, they might have a friend, like that might be playing with them in the playground, a friend buddy, I think that's what they call it, a buddy that might help them to play around, make them feel a bit more confident. It might be, as I said before, maybe it's physical play, maybe it's about climbing, maybe another child climbs up to a much higher level on the climbing frame and encourages your child to come join them. It's still that support that is given. It can be intellectual scaffolding as well. Intellectual scaffolding, I talked about the concrete operational stage about that Piaget talked about in his child development theories. The intellectual might be maybe another child might help your child in maybe those additional and subtracting, those logical problem solving. But definitely it all differs. It all differs. Most importantly, the teacher or the person that is in charge of the children in the classroom will be able to identify what kind of scaffolding techniques that your child might be needing. Also, at this age, there might be defined signs of troubled childhood, in the sense that maybe a child might express if there are maybe concerns at home, or not in a very direct way, but maybe there's any form of abuse or neglect. Children are a bit more confident. Some children might have been able to say it much younger, but children, 6-year-old, they're a bit more confident. So that troubled maybe instances or situation might be seen a bit more in the children or the child at the age of 6, and or in that behavior of the child at the age of 6. And in this sense, they are able to contribute to storytelling and making up of stories, in the sense that their ability to be a bit more expressive and confident in their logical thinking. So in the sense that maybe you're making up a story and you ask them to contribute, they might add something to that story, or they might also be able to make up stories in group settings, or just their contribution. And also, a child at the age of 6 can actually tell you the day of their birthday, and in some cases they might be able to tell you the month, at this age, growing onto that 7-8-year-olds. But from this age onward, they are able to tell you, oh, my birthday is on the 5th, or they might say my birthday is on the 6th of July, depending on their developmental maturity. But definitely they're able to express their birthday because of that ability to express themselves. And developing of facial expression as well is taken up at this age. Facial expressions and the meanings, when some parents are able to speak to their child non-verbally with the facial expression, and the child is able to get it. Maybe when they're much younger, they might be a bit confused about it, but from the age of 6, as I said, the sixth sense, they're able to identify some facial expression, non-verbal communication, as I can express it at, and express the meaning of it. They also have the ability to talk about their likes and dislikes more confidently. Or if they don't like something, they can say it. If they do like something, and sometimes sometimes the filters you might encourage your child to have a bit of a filter, but much younger, but definitely at the age of 6, that ability to talk about the likes and dislikes comes into play. But of course, being aware of cultural differences, I talked about the facial expression or nonverbal body language. Things mean differently in different cultures, but definitely facial expressions and the meanings, some of the simple meanings, are beginning to come into play. Another thing, when it's the sixth sense, being 6 is competition and competing with other children. More of inabilities and skills, so competition and being in the competitive mood. In maybe the painting of another child, they might think, oh, that painting was much better than their own, or maybe another child won a race, or got an award, or so. In that sense, in task abilities, there's a bit of competition going on there, and they don't tend to handle it well. So, but it's very important that children have an understanding that competitions do happen, and it's been letting them have an understanding of how the world really works, just developing that stage in them. I know some schools, they ensure that every child gets a reward when the competition, maybe they have the competitive sport, but at this age, letting them understand. But the ability for children from the age of 6 to start understanding, because of they would naturally have that ability to compete with abilities and skills, comparing themselves to other peers or their other peers, is very, very visible at this age. So what have I talked about today? I've talked about the 6-year-olds, which I call sixth sense at 6. And I have talked about paying attention to them going into primary school or year 1, the way they might interact, the way they might react in that situation of being in a big school. I've talked about them having been a bit more competitive in their abilities, their skills compared to their peer group, just comparing themselves. I've talked about analytical skills, which Piaget called the concentrate operational stage, logical analytical thinking coming in, and scaffolding as well, which was a developmental theory developed by Piaget. So that is what the 6-year-old will be focused on just at that age, and to help in their developmental process, to help your child in their developmental process. So that's it. If you have any questions, do send them to me. Write it in this platform here, the comment section. The other day someone got back to me to say the comment section is switched off. So I would ensure that when this video is uploaded, that they say that the comment section is on. I will ensure that every comment section is on, telling when this video is uploaded. So send your questions in. My website still remains rennyadejuwon.com. And of course, another amazing gift is added to the gift that is already in place. What questions do you have for me? I'm looking for that challenging question to, give me that push, make me think, make me use my brain cells a bit more, and open it up to other parents to see how we might, as a community or as individual, might be able to learn from each other. But you can find so much more resources on my website at rennyadejuwon.com. Thank you so much for the support, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.